from my childhood once again, back home on the farm in Indiana. I've come to the Miller kitchen. This is my mom, Lana Miller, and today we are going to recreate a dish that was my grandma Miller's, my grandma Dorothy Miller's dish that was so highly requested, especially by us kids. It was called pot pie, which is not pot pie, it's more like a dumpling noodle, but she called it pot pie, so we've always called it pot pie. And Mom, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, like she said, it was most requested by the kids, and especially at Christmas time, and it's just like a week after Christmas right now. And we're going to change it up a little bit today. The advantage of pot pie over noodles is you can use it right away, you can leave it set overnight, you can freeze it. You can do just about anything with it, and it's very forgiving. So it takes flour, baking powder, salt, and shortening of some kind. We're going to try butter today. We've usually used shortening in the past. 1 egg, 1/2 cup milk, very simple. Put it all in a mixer bowl, mix it on the lowest speed till it all comes together in a clump, roll it out, and cut it. And you can cook it immediately. You can freeze it in individual squares on a flat sheet, and then when it's frozen, throw them in a plastic bag. So we're going to get started.
Okay.
2 cups of flour.
2 cups of flour. Let me miss that for you. And I'll let you go for it.
Oh,
This is your leveler and your scoop. And this is a hearty dish, and it is cold outside. It was icy yesterday, and it's supposed to snow later. So this is like that really warm, comforting food that you want in the middle of winter in Indiana.
My mother-in-law typically served this as a side dish, but today I'm going to add chicken, which I've already cooked off the bone, and some vegetables, and make it sort of a whole meal.
Which will be good. When we were kids, we just always requested the carby meals. This, and as a side dish, macaroni and cheese. So today we're going to make it a little bit healthier and add some protein and some veg to it, and it'll be a good meal.
And I usually make a huge batch of this, but today
We're scaling it down.
We're scaling it down.
All right, I'll
today.
put this away. What do we have next?
Okay, we need a teaspoon of baking powder and
Okay.
a half teaspoon of salt. I'm sorry.
All right.
Teaspoon of each, and that won't fit in there,
Oh,
so
a
you'll
whole
have to use
teaspoon.
2
Okay.
of those.
So
Teaspoon
a
of
teaspoon of salt. There we go.
and a teaspoon of baking powder.
Okay.
That's done.
And you've got an egg cracked in
1
here.
egg and a half cup of milk. We're going to kind of whisk those together a little bit.
Okay,
Let's
the
add
egg and the
to
milk,
that.
and then whisk it together. Okay. I loved it when Grandma Miller made this. It was so good.
And we're going to add a half stick
Half
of
stick
butter.
of butter, okay. And it's soft, it's at room temperature. Makes it a lot easier to mix that way.
We might as well dump that into at the same time.
Same time? Okay. Everything all at once. So a super easy dough.
You can cut it like a pie. You can cut it in with a pastry blender, but I thought this would be so much simpler. I have done it this way before because sometimes when I would cater, I'd make huge batches of this.
And how long does it take on the mixer?
Just till it comes together in a ball.
Okay, so our dough is done. It kind of looks like this, like a loose wet dough. And then we just roll it out.
We're going to flour. I use a Silpat mat here, and we'll just do a little at a time.
A little bit of flour.
My cupboard has a grain to it. It looks like leather, so it catches flour terribly. So
Yep. Try to contain this. I'll let you roll, you're the pro. Now you have one of those marble rolling pins, and those are really good
Nice
for
and
pie
heavy.
crust.
Nice and heavy and cold, just what you need. You
So
can roll it as thick or as thin as you like it. You
I was
can-
just going to ask.
can cut it as big or small, however.
All right, and there's the cutter.
This is a pizza cutter, but it's wonderful for this.
And makes very quick work of that.
My daughter-in-law bought me one of these for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I just love it. These are far from exact, as you can tell.
but they taste really good. All right, so we just put them directly into the boiling stock?
Yes, I'm going to turn this burner up and put them right in here and we'll continue a little more.
Okay. So these go into our stock and then we're going to roll the rest. As these start to cook, I'm seeing them rise, so it probably doesn't take them very long. How long do you usually boil them?
It depends on how long they have sat, if they're cold or hot, just till you eat one occasionally, and if you're just right,
When it's just right.
It's done.
Yeah, when they're no longer that gummy and you don't taste the raw dough, you taste a cooked noodle texture, then
Cooks faster than a traditional noodle.
yeah, it does. This is a small batch compared to what Grandma Miller might usually make, but this is plenty, really. Then we've got one little bit of dough left to roll. So for that recipe, we did it in thirds.
Your turn, little girl.
All right. I'm used to a French rolling pin, so this is a little different. But it's nice and heavy, so you don't have to work it as much as you do a French rolling pin. Oh, keeps coming up. My dad has a train clock, and I'm hearing it now. My dad worked for the railroad for many, many years, and so he always gets train memorabilia, and we buy him train memorabilia. Okay, how about that? Is that about right?
That looks good. And I'll let you cut it.
All right, I'll do the cutting. Can I make heart shapes?
You can do anything you wish.
That was a bit too large. And Mom had the back and forth motion here that looked so precise, trying to mimic that. Learn from your moms. So I cut one direction and then the other direction. Then this will go into our chicken broth.
I cooked carrots, onion, and celery in chicken broth earlier, and I'm going to add those to the pot pie, which I've also added chicken to. And I'll add just the veggies, and I'll add the broth as I need it, as it thickens. Pot pie tends to thicken as it sets and as it cooks. This way I have a whole meal instead of serving it as a side dish. It's a whole meal. And it has some color to it.
So our chicken pot pie is done. We added chicken. And you said you did about 3 chicken thighs?
I did poached 3 chicken thighs
Okay.
yesterday and then shredded them. So those were ready to go, and I also cooked carrots, celery, and onions this morning in chicken broth,
Okay.
and I added those.
And I should introduce our handsome guests back here.
Well, yeah, we're ready to eat.
We're ready to eat. This is my husband, Tim. And this is my dad, Jim Miller.
Glad
And
to know you.
so this is his mom's recipe that we've added chicken and vegetables to that we call pot pie,
Right.
which is not really pot pie, but we call it pot pie in Indiana because Grandma called it pot pie, and that's,
That's right.
what it is. So
That's right. Always at Christmas time especially.
yes,
It's
yeah,
just like
It's
an open
thick
faced
soup.
pot pie to me.
yeah, it kind of is. It's like a crustless pot pie.
And it is hot.
It's super hot, yeah.
And my mother-in-law always just served it
Very
as
good.
a side dish, just the pot pie.
Just the
and
pot pie
cooked in
alone,
broth or
just
water,
the
I'm not
noodles,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I like it like this because Mom's added chicken and she's added vegetables, and so it's now more of an
Full
all-inclusive meal. And you serve it maybe with a salad or something, and you've got everything you need all in one. And for a chilly Indiana day,
Perfect.
this is perfect.
Perfect, very good.
Yeah.
This will warm your tummy.
Okay, so check it out. The recipe's on
TaylorKitchen.net.
Hey friends, thanks so much for watching Taylor Kitchen. For recipes and a whole lot more, go to TaylorKitchen.net. Thanks again.